walking down the road.
Do not keep walking into my personal space. Stay back!
I'm your #1 fan. There is nothing to worry about. You're gonna be just fine. I'll take good care of you. I'm your #1 fan.
As everyone knows, I'm DJ Audits' #1 fan. I always enjoyed watching him going around the country in those stylish green tracky bottoms. Sexy as. So you can imagine how devastated I was when I heard he'd stopped auditing. He'd not even given me a keyring. It hurt my feelings. But there's good news. He's started up again. And just recently he paid a visit to Taylor Wimpey Logistics in Peterborough, which is confusing to me because he's actually been there before as an auditor. About 2 years ago he visited that same place with PJ Audits, and that was the visit when he assaulted one of their staff. Let's watch it.
So welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're here in Peterborough, still with PJ Audits, and we've come across a Taylor Wimpey Logistics.
This is where they're stood. It's called Flaxley Road, part of Kingston Park, which is a business park just on the outskirts of Peterborough. And this is what DJ Audits didn't mention to his viewers. Just after the roundabout I've circled there, he crossed through these barriers. What that tells us is that he's not on a highway at this point. And just to reinforce what I'm saying, here's the list of streets produced by Peterborough City Council, and you'll see that Flaxley Road is private from the roundabout that I've circled on the map. He's therefore on private land, therefore he is trespassing. Everything that follows should be viewed in light of that fact, and I would suggest to you that it upturns the entire perception and interpretation of the incident, because everything the two of them do after crossing this barrier is either criminal or a civil wrong. Just to be clear about something, I'm not suggesting that photographing or recording on private property without prior consent from the owner will always be trespassing. There may be circumstances we can imagine where implied consent could be taken to apply, but that will tend to be tourist sites and other places where the owner would reasonably expect people to turn up and record, though even then it would turn on the facts of a particular situation. I only mention that to emphasise that I'm not suggesting that this is always black and white. But this is just an ordinary mundane business park with commercial premises such as warehouses, offices and factories. It's not expected that somebody would stray out there to record. Obviously, you will have urban explorers and people like that who might go there and do something similar, but they're not doing it to get a rise out of people for clickbait content. So while it's still trespass, it's not necessarily egregious because the intention is not to bully or harass anybody. What auditors are doing, including these two, is intentionally going there to bully, abuse and harass people. At minimum, this involves trying to arouse the attention of and provoke or wind up security or other staff at the business, so that they have watchable content.
Now, according to Google Maps, this place is Arnold Laver. So, it must have recently changed hands.
Arnold Laver?
Arnold Laver, yeah. So, Taylor Wimpey, the sign does look quite new.
It does.
So, what can we see?
Well, it could just be a name change rather than a company change.
You may have purchased the previous company out?
Or they've, yeah, possibly.
Something to do with timber, house building, possible, isn't it?
Well, Wimpey is building, I would have thought.
Yeah, house builder. Yeah?
Yeah.
So let's use the zoom camera. Let's see what we can see. Make sense of this one.
Let's see what we can see, eh? Let's take a look at you, big boy, with those green tracky bottoms. Let's see what you got.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yes, I suppose you're right, Michael. Anyway, he's just told us he's zooming in with his camera. He's stood on private property already, which means he's already trespassing, and now he's zooming in, so the question that is going to arise here is at what point do we regard this as a potential aggravated trespass, an offence contrary to Section 68 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994. Aggravated trespass requires an intention to disrupt or obstruct lawful activity on site, or intimidate staff from carrying out their lawful activities. Note that the Section 68 offence does not require that lawful activities are actually disrupted or obstructed, or that there is actually any intimidation. All that is required to form the offence is that there is an intention to do one or more of those things.
So over there we have Smurfit Kappa, and that one is unsigned. So obviously this road here looks council to me, because it doesn't change colour at all, right up to the barrier.
We know from the evidence I've already shown you that, as usual, DJ Audits is talking rot. Some of his fans may try to argue, well, how was he supposed to know? 3 observations I would ask you to note in that regard are that, first, he should have known because he crossed a barrier that I've shown you, and even if the relevant part of Flaxley Road were publicly maintained, he should have the common sense and situational awareness to realise that the highway can't go right up to that barrier we now see in front of him, because he's passing the entrance to the site, which, as you can see from this image still, is clearly gated. He knows, or should have known by the time he made this video, that just because a gate is open, that does not make a site open to the public. It is still trespass. Second, he claims to be an expert in the law and he calls himself an auditor. The reason I insist on calling these people auditors is because that's the title they give themselves, and I think we should judge them by their own benchmark. So let's ask, why is it that a man who, when this visit was conducted about 2 years ago, was by that point very experienced at this, having made hundreds of visits, how could he have got this so wrong? As of today, in 2025, he has made over 1,200 visits of this type in the course of 4 years, yet he still gets this wrong. Now, is he just thick? Does somebody who is thick end up with 232,000 subscribers on YouTube, as he has? Do thick people usually enjoy that level of success? Well, a lot of successful people are a bit thick. The reason for this is implied by a phenomenon that psychologists call analysis paralysis, in which knowledgeable, thoughtful or intelligent people can be hindered in life by a tendency to overthink and overanalyze things, implying that less capable people often succeed if they have the compensating quality of a willingness to take a risk, which could be aided by ignorance about exactly what the risks are. A more intelligent person than DJ Audits would never do what he and PJ Audits are doing, because first, it would be obvious that it's wrong, but also importantly because he would have an appreciation of the risks involved, if not precise knowledge of those risks. DJ Audits and PJ Audits think they know what they're doing, but they're a classic example of a Dunning-Kruger effect. They're not just ignorant, they're ignorant of their ignorance. The third point I would make is that even if we decide to be generous to DJ Audits and say that he is indeed a bit thick, which means we're alleviating him of some moral responsibility for his own actions, that still won't avail him in law. Simple trespass, a civil wrong, does not require intent. You are trespassing whether you intended to or not, and even if it was a genuine mistake or misunderstanding, there is still a claim in trespass. Of course, if it can be shown that the trespass was intentional, that would result in a higher level of damages, should it go that far, but that doesn't alter the point that trespass does not require intent. It follows from this that aggravated trespass does not require intent to trespass for the offence to be formed. The criminal intent required is in relation to the aspects I have already covered, the intention to disrupt, obstruct or intimidate. There is no requirement that the accused actually intended the trespass itself. I can imagine there may be narrow circumstances that depart from this general principle where the prosecution would have to show a nexus between an intent to trespass and the intention required to commit aggravated trespass, such that it may in some particular circumstances be that an intentional trespass would have to be proved as part of a prosecution for aggravated trespass, but that is not the general position. In this case, there is no such nexus. Regardless of whether he does know this is a trespass, DJ Audits' intention anyway was to enter the premises and cause trouble, and this troublemaking does not depend on the trespass. He could have done it from the public highway, and usually does.
So, let's have a quick sneak peek, just to see if we can see anything else that will give us some clues.
He is now actually on the site. I'm really just waiting for the point when I can say it's an aggravated trespass.
So we've just got some pallet bases down there. some wooden boxes, some IBCs. Got some birds going crazy to my right.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
How you doing?
You okay?
No, loud. Sorry.
Sorry, mate. I can't hear you. What's that?
No, no, take photo from here. It's private.
Oh, do you want me to stand outside and do it?
Yeah, should be outside, yeah.
Okay, what is it that you do here?
This building company.
Building company?
Yeah.
So is it just like where you store the materials?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Is it just wood?
Yeah, logistic, yeah. Yeah.
What sort of materials are stored here?
This material like wood, some wood, yeah. This manager has come now.
Okay, well, I'm getting out the way of the vehicle. I'll speak to him just outside, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, mate, send him out to us. Yeah, cheers, pal. Yeah, come outside, mate. Safer.
He's received the first objection, and to their credit, both of them do walk out beyond the gate. But as you know from the facts I stated earlier, they are still on private land even if they're beyond the gate, and therefore they are trespassing. And for the purpose of aggravated trespass, it doesn't matter that they may be trespassing on the estate owner's land rather than land belonging to or leased by Taylor Wimpey. That being said, if we now look at where they're stood, I think it's quite likely that this still falls within the premises controlled by Taylor Wimpey because it is an area at the front that's set off the estate road.
Well, that's what I do. I video industrial estates, and I'm just.
But this is private site.
Oh, that's all right. I'm
particularly
just
want
going
you
off the
in
site now, but I'm just explaining what these high curbs are for.
Yeah, I know that, but can I ask you then to leave and do not photograph this site, please?
I will carry on photographing this site, my friend.
No, it's private site. I asked you not to do it. There's no need to do it. As far as I'm concerned, you should not do it.
I believe this is a manager of some description, and he is exactly right in what he's saying. They are still trespassing. They simply have no right to be where they are and should be retreating back to the barrier I showed you earlier.
But it's not what you're concerned with. It's what I'm allowed to do.
And you've just been told that you're not allowed to. I must confess to you that I've always had a bit of a soft spot for PJ Audits for one or two reasons, and sometimes I liked those few videos he made where he didn't cause any trouble and just genuinely had a look round some industrial premises. The problem with him is that he's very stubborn and doesn't listen to what people are telling him. He's one of these people who only listens to what he wants to hear. Just to give you a sense of how obstinate he is, this is what he says later on when he's flying his drone.
So there's the security box where we were just stood, and to me, I mean, apart from the gates, it looks like it's public property. I don't know if it is or not, but that's definitely how it looks to me.
There's a gate there. You can clearly see it. As a minimum, Taylor Wimpey must have control of everything beyond the gate. This is somebody who calls himself an auditor and purports to go around auditing other people.
Can you please leave the site?
I will leave the site, my friend, but I will carry on videoing.
Leave the site, please.
I'm going, my friend, but like
Turn
I said,
around and then please leave.
like I said, I
You're
will
trespassing
carry on.
at the moment. Please leave. You're inside my property.
Yes, but I'm
outside.
talking
I'm not
to you at the
listening
moment.
to you. I don't wish to carry on listening. Please leave the site.
Well, I can tell you're not interested in listening to what I'm saying.
The person who isn't listening is you, PJ. You need to listen to what you're being told.
Please leave the site now. I'm asking you nicely, politely.
Right.
Please leave.
That's right. I am going to go, but I'm telling you, I will carry on videoing.
Do what you wish, but leave the site.
Thank
you.
you.
Are not
Very
come
nice of you.
inside. I do not expect you to come past these gates here. You are trespassing otherwise.
Right.
Again, that's correct. In point of fact, indeed as a point of law, they were trespassing when they crossed this barrier. But that's estate land, so it's not the manager's immediate concern. He's right to tell them to go back beyond the gate or even back to the estate road, at the very least.
Okay.
So health and safety, no high vis, no safety footwear. You're a danger. You're causing a danger.
Again, absolutely 100% spot on. The irony of this is that both PJ Audits and DJ Audits often make a big deal out of what they interpret to be health and safety breaches and infractions by the businesses they visit, yet they themselves never show any consideration for health and safety matters. Neither of them ever wear personal protective equipment, PPE, but they think it's a good idea to just stroll on to a working site. And just to give you an understanding of why that might be of some concern to Taylor Wimpey, you're now looking at some footage from the perspective of PJ Audits. You can see that the company has lorries coming into sight. They can't have these two hanging around at the entrance like that. As the manager points out later,
I think by the time you get to the pavement, because you're causing a hazard.
I'm outside your gate. Am I
Outside
outside
your
your
gates.
site right now?
You're causing a hazard. You're in my entrance.
Shall we move over to the grass?
You can move back to the pavement.
No,
please.
I'll move to the grass.
And of course, the two of them don't stay on the grass, even if they are allowed to be there, which they're not. Here's some more footage from PJ Audits. You can clearly see both him and DJ Audits stood in the road, PJ more so, and that's typical of PJ. It's completely irresponsible of him to stand in the middle of the road like that while flying a drone, but he doesn't care. He even lands it in the middle of the road.
No high-vis, no safety footwear. You're a danger. You're causing a danger.
I
Please
can go,
leave now.
I can go and put them on. I've got them in the car.
That makes it worse because it tells us that you do know and appreciate that you should be wearing PPE and you haven't bothered to bring it with you. You've left it in your car, which must be at least a mile from where you're stood now.
Leave now outside the gates. You can take pictures from outside the gates, but not inside.
You've just told me I can't.
I don't think he has. I think you're just not listening, PJ. He's told you that you should leave the site. That means go beyond the gates. Personally, I think he could demand that you return to the estate road, and what you do there is a matter for you. You'll still be trespassing in any event, even from that point, but you won't be on Taylor Wimpey premises. The manager is just doing his job and he's doing it well.
Outside the gates and stop arguing.
Excuse me, mate.
What do you mean stop arguing?
No, I'm not. Please leave.
Excuse
Who
me.
are you to tell me to stop arguing?
Well, PJ, you're the one trespassing on their property. You've brought the problem. It's at the discretion of Taylor Wimpey whether they should allow recording on their site. Like it or not, that is the law. If you wanted better treatment, you shouldn't go around causing problems and you might then be better received. For example, if you contacted Taylor Wimpey in advance and asked to come along and film because you think their site is interesting for some reason, they may have agreed, and that would have given them the opportunity as site owner to impose whatever conditions and restrictions they thought necessary in the interests of their business. They may not have agreed, but it should be up to them. I take the attitude that if DJ Audits and PJ Audits want to go along and trespass anyway, then so be it. In the case of a legitimate journalist, sometimes that might be necessary because it may be that there's a company who are up to no good or suspected of doing something wrong, and recording it is part of collecting the evidence of the wrongdoing. But even then it would still be trespass, so any activity of this sort has to be on the basis that as responsible adults, the journalist or urban explorer or auditor or whoever it is ready to take the consequences of his actions and obey any requests from staff, including requests to leave. DJ Audits and PJ Audits are refusing to leave, and that is wrong on their part.
Leave my site now.
I will leave the site.
Can I just ask you a question, please?
No, please leave the site.
This is my drone. I just want to inform you.
No, I
just-
don't wish it on site. I don't wish you to taking pictures. Outside the site now,
Calm
please.
down.
Again, we see this manipulation that is typical of auditors. The manager is doing a good job and he's perfectly calm. He's just being firm and telling them what they don't want to hear.
Please leave the site.
How many times has he told them that?
Can you take your mask off?
Calm down.
Can you take your mask off?
I'm trying to let you know what I'm doing. Calm down. Take a breather.
Please leave the site.
Somebody needs to count the number of times and let me know.
In 2 minutes' time, I'm going to make an aerial video of your site just for my YouTube channel. It's all innocent.
Please leave the site.
Don't be so rude when I'm trying to
Look,
explain.
I've asked you politely. I am now telling you, leave my site. Do what you want outside.
Okay, thank you.
But leave the site.
So the drone's going to go over. You happy?
Okay,
Yeah?
and if it falls down, it falls down. But please leave
If it
the
falls
site
down,
now.
you'll give it me back.
No, I won't. I'll run over it if need be. No, I won't. I'll run over it if need be. No, I won't. I'll run over it if need be.
No, you won't.
Excuse me?
3 points to make here. First, the manager had already told these two idiots that what they do from outside the site is their business. They're still trespassing from the estate road, but that's not Taylor Wimpey's problem, and I can understand why the manager either doesn't realise that it's still trespass or just doesn't want to press that point as well. His immediate concern is to get them off site, and he had already told both of them that they could do as they pleased from the estate road, or from outside the gates. The second point to make is that DJ Audits and PJ Audits as well, these points apply to him too. If DJ Audits does go ahead and fly his drone from the estate road, he will be doing so while trespassing. However, it is debatable whether this act in itself would be an aerial trespass or an aerial aggravated trespass, given what the manager has just repeatedly intimated to him. My view on this is that despite what the manager has said, it will still be an aerial trespass and an aerial aggravated trespass due to two factors. First, DJ Audits is still trespassing on the estate road, and from a point where the manager cannot give him consent to be, and we can infer that the owner of the estate road did not intend that someone should record from that position. Second, DJ Audits will be flying a surveillance drone. Let's just recap on aerial trespass law. We've done it to death already on this channel, but no harm in going over it again. Since the case of Bernstein and Skyviews and General Limited, landowners are said to control only so much airspace as is necessary for the ordinary use and enjoyment of their land and the structures upon it. Above that, the airspace is regulated by the Civil Aviation Authority and other bodies. It follows from this that any flight by a drone that interferes in the normal everyday use of the premises would be an aerial trespass. Normally, an objection would be raised to an auditor flying over the site. In this case, it's a bit unusual because the manager has not objected as such. However, I would still argue it is an aerial trespass if DJ Audits decides to capture close images of goings-on at the site, especially if his footage potentially identifies individuals, which has happened in the case of some auditors. Of relevance to this is a judgment from the High Court, fairly recent. It was 2023. This was in the case of Anglo International up Holland Limited and Wainwright. The case concerned urban explorers trespassing on an abandoned seminary building that was in a dilapidated and unsafe state. The claimant sought an interim injunction against Mr. Wainwright and persons unknown for, amongst other things, the prohibition of drone trespass over Anglo's site. The claimant's case was that the drones were being used to identify entrances individuals could use to trespass on the site. The court drew attention to Section 76 of the Civil Aviation Act 1982, which provides that no action shall lie in respect of trespass by reason only of the flight of an aircraft over any property at a height above the ground which, having regard to wind, weather and all the circumstances of the case, is reasonable. Since a drone was within the scope of a definition of an aircraft, Section 76 applied. Therefore, the act of flying a drone at a reasonable height over the Anglo site could not constitute trespass. However, the court considered that the only reason to fly drones over the Anglo site was to facilitate and encourage trespass through recording footage, which could potentially endanger life. Alternatively, since drones were being flown low enough to provide clear recordings of the site, the height at which the drone was being flown could not be considered reasonable under Section 76. Accordingly, the court was not prevented from finding trespass by that section, and the injunction was an appropriate and a proportionate remedy. The judgment highlighted the unsafe condition of a building and the risks posed to trespassers, which were crucial in the court's decision to grant the injunction. That case would suggest to me that flying a surveillance drone over a site without consent could be trespass, especially where the recordings captured are clear and could potentially identify individuals or otherwise compromise the privacy or sensitivity of the site. The problem is that, as far as I'm aware, the court has yet to hear a trespass argument involving a drone flying low enough to record clear footage of a property, but high enough to be outside the airspace necessary for the landowner's reasonable use of the property, which is a typical scenario involving auditors. But I suspect the court's view would not be favourable to the auditor, for the reasons I have already outlined. People who go round intentionally trespassing and disrespecting others tend not to have the sympathy of the court, especially when it is a whole reason for their activities. Of course, here it is open to argument that the manager has given tacit consent, therefore implied consent, by not objecting, but any argument for implied consent does rest on two further points, which is that first, DJ Audits must not interfere in the site by his use of the drone, and second, pursuant to Section 76, he must abide by any air navigation order in place. Of particular interest are Articles 265A and 265B of the Air Navigation Order 2016, which make it an offence not to comply with the requirements on open category drone flights in Article 4.1 of the implementing regulations. Article 4.1d requires that the drone pilot keeps the drone in visual line of sight at all times, so not doing so is not only a breach of the Air Navigation Order, but also a criminal offence. Most of you watching this will know about DJ Audits' flying habits and that, like most auditors, he doesn't always keep his drone within visual line of sight. I'm not sure about PJ Audits, but the point is that any breach of the air navigation order, including breach of a visual line of sight stipulation that is a requirement of the order at one remove, could be interpreted as giving rise to a trespass due to the way that Section 76 of the 1982 Act was worded. We should also bear in mind that the manager does not necessarily know that it will be a surveillance drone or where the footage is going. It's not as if DJ Audits and PJ Audits have complied with Article 13 of the UK GDPR and given him all the relevant information about their recording activities, including who they are and where the footage is going, so the manager is not in a position to give informed consent. It's up in the air to some extent, pun intended, but I would say that DJ Audits is not on safe ground here, or safe in the air for that matter. Moving on to the next point.
So the drone's going to go over, you happy?
Okay,
yeah?
and if it falls down, it falls down. But please leave
If it falls down, you'll give it me back.
No, I won't. I'll run over it if need be.
Clearly the manager should not have said that, but it's just an outburst. Up to that point, the manager had maintained a professional countenance, and personally, I can't find significant fault with him so far. And let's be honest about it, how many of us could keep our temper while dealing with somebody like this? But as to the legality of what the manager just said, while it was ill-advised to say it, I think that the law is not quite as straightforward as DJ Audits may think or would like. It is true that if a drone accidentally falls on or lands on someone else's land, the drone remains the property of the drone operator and has to be returned to him. Otherwise, the owner of the land risks an accusation of theft contrary to Section 1 of the Theft Act 1968. Confiscating the drone would be allowed, I think, but the point is that the owner would not be allowed to keep the drone, as that would be theft. Therefore, it would have to be returned, and any confiscation could only be temporary and would have to be justified on its own terms. Possibly one justification would be that it has to be inspected, examined and photographed for security reasons and to verify compliance with relevant drone laws, and the Civil Aviation Authority have to be contacted to verify the operator ID displayed on it, that kind of thing, as long as the intention is to return the drone to the pilot or operator. The complication here is that DJ Audits is trespassing already, and I think the situation is an aggravated trespass already. And as I've just explained, it's quite likely that if he now flies his drone over site, that will be an aerial trespass, and the same for PJ Audits. Possibly an aerial aggravated trespass as well. If someone is flying a drone under those circumstances and the drone then falls or lands on site, and the landowner then confiscates the drone or even keeps the drone, is that theft? Personally, I would say not. I'm not going to pretend it's an easy judgment call to make, but I think in those circumstances the police would be reluctant to press the matter, especially if it's not an expensive drone. But the manager didn't just refer to keeping it, he referred to running over it. So we have to look at Section 1 of the Criminal Damage Act 1971, which states this in subsection 1. A person who, without lawful excuse, destroys or damages any property belonging to another, intending to destroy or damage any such property, or being reckless as to whether any such property will be destroyed or damaged, shall be guilty of an offence. Section 2 says this: a person who, without lawful excuse, makes to another a threat, intending that that other would fear it would be carried out, to destroy or damage any property belonging to that other or a third person, shall be guilty of an offence. The critical point here is whether in circumstances of aerial trespass and or aerial aggravated trespass, this manager would have a lawful excuse for damaging the drone in the way proposed. Section 5.2 does help us out a little by providing for a lawful excuse where either he believes he is acting with consent or to protect property. Section 5.3 goes on to say that for either defence, it is immaterial whether a belief is justified or not if it is honestly held. For the second defence to apply, protection of property, the property must be in immediate need of protection. I just want to stress before I go on that if you ever find yourself in this position, you should never do what the manager just did and say something that could be construed as a threat of criminal damage or any other criminal action, but we are where we are. Personally, I think potentially the manager is availed of either or both defences in subsection 5.3 as I've just mentioned, but I think it would hinge on whether it can be shown on the balance of probabilities that the auditor intends to commit acts that amount to aggravated trespass or some other offence. To illustrate the point with an extreme hypothetical, imagine a burglar leaves behind his claw hammer. If the owner of a premises then keeps or destroys the hammer, I very much doubt the police will bring charges for theft or criminal damage. I'm not suggesting that auditors are on a par with burglars, of course, but I'm sure you can appreciate the point. If it appears that somebody is committing or intends to commit an aggravated trespass, the moral force in any counter-accusation would normally fall away unless it's something very serious. Apart from that, it's doubtful that the manager was actually making a threat to damage or destroy the drone.
So the drone's going to go over, you happy,
Okay,
yeah?
and if it falls down, it falls down. But please leave
If it
the
falls
site
down,
now.
you'll give it me back.
No, I won't. I'll run over it if need be.
I think that's just an outburst. The threat not to return the drone sounds more serious, but as I have already mentioned, big boys rules for big boys games.
No, you won't.
Excuse me?
That's criminal
How
damage,
dare he
mate.
say that to me?
Trespassing. Get out.
Come back here, you!
Come back here, you! Who does DJ Audits think he is? He stood on private land. He has no right to be there. Indeed, he's trespassing.
Criminal damage.
Get here!
Get here! He sounds like a gangster.
Get here! Oi, mate, you do not deserve any of my respect, so you're not getting it.
You're not getting any fine. Now please leave the site like I've asked you to.
How many times has DJ Audits been asked to leave site?
I do not wish you to film, but I probably can't stop you, so please leave site.
You'll have noticed the jump in the clip there.
Now please leave the site like I've asked you to. I do not.
There are a number of those. You've probably noticed them as we've been watching. I can't imagine it's to comply with a privacy complaint because he's showing everybody's faces in the footage anyway. It does make me suspicious. Same can be said for PJ Audits' version as well. He has made a few cuts in his footage.
I do not wish you to film, but I probably can't stop you, so please leave site.
So you're not going to stop us from filming today, is that correct?
I didn't say that. I said I didn't. I don't really want you to, but please leave the site.
What's your position in the company?
Needless to say, he doesn't have to give out that information to someone like DJ Audits.
That doesn't concern you at this point. Please leave the site.
Am I off your site right now?
I think by the time you get to the pavement, because you're causing
No,
a hazard.
I'm outside your gate. Am I outside your site right now?
I agree with this gentleman, the manager, that the auditors are not outside the site until they reach the estate road, and even then they're still trespassing. It's just that they're no longer on land controlled by Taylor Wimpey. I think there is a case to be made that Taylor Wimpey, as tenants on site, could also demand that they leave the estate altogether on behalf of the estate owner, but that's more of a technical argument. I have addressed it once before in a different situation, but we need not go into it here.
You're causing a hazard. You're in my entrance.
Shall we move over to the grass?
You can move back to the pavement.
No,
please.
I'll move to the grass.
The grass is still Taylor Wimpey land in my opinion, so the grass isn't always greener. He's been told over and over and over again what he has to do.
Okay.
Don't need to move any further, mate.
Yeah.
One last
Okay.
thing,
Fine here.
get back to work.
This manager.
And you, get back to work. Connie, come closer. Come closer.
I think we're at the point where we can say it's aggravated trespass. The fact that DJ Audits and PJ Audits are conspicuously recording and doing so continuously, and that they are clearly goading these people, lends weight to an assessment of this as a criminal matter.
Michael.
Thank you for being the stars of today's show. You'll see yourself on YouTube in 7 days. Get back to work, please.
Again, you'll notice the jump in the clip. He's cut something out, and you'll have just heard the goading of staff and the threat that they will be on YouTube. Unfortunately, this incident gets worse.
Get to work, please. Get to work, please.
Woo! With a finger.
Again, nobody can condone that, but you've got to put yourself in the shoes of the manager. It can't be pleasant having to deal with people like this, and it's not something he would expect to have to deal with.
Are you one of those SIA licensed security guards?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, where is it?
It's not your business. If you have,
No, where is it?
I have.
Is it on display?
Yeah, I'm security here.
Yeah. Is it on display right now?
Why?
Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Is it on display right now?
Yes, exactly.
Where?
Inside, in my
No, you're supposed to have it on you.
You just said yes, it's on display right now. Where is it?
I'm correct. Everything right.
So is it on display right now? Yes or no?
No, sir.
So you're committing a criminal offence, aren't you?
This is pretty much the only point of law that auditors ever get right. DJ Audits is correct that there is a requirement on SIA licensed security officers to display their licence card. This is contained in Regulation 53A of the Private Security Industry Act 2001, Licences Regulations 2007. And Section 9.4 of the Private Security Industry Act 2001 makes it an offence not to comply with statutory licence conditions, including that one. However, I've come to the view that auditors' interpretation of this requirement may not be quite right in these circumstances. What we've got to remember is that auditors are approaching these premises and security guards on the basis of an intention to trespass and harass and broadcast people's identities on social media. And this will make it unwise for the victims to have their licences on display, as these cards contain their names and could aid in their identification. Regulation 5.4 of the Licence Regulations for the Security Industry provides for an exception where the security guard can demonstrate that the nature of the situation requires that he not be immediately identifiable as someone engaged in security work, and as long as he is able to produce his licence on request. Now, unfortunately for this security guard, the exception I've just mentioned also contains a requirement that the security guard is carrying the licence on his person for the exception to apply, and he has just admitted that he's left it somewhere else. Even so, I would think it very unlikely in all the circumstances that the SIA would want to pursue a security guard where an auditor is involved, given what auditors are about and given the existence of the exception I've just mentioned.
So by law you have to have it, yeah, on display.
I know.
So go and get it. Off you go.
Okay, can you stop, please? Why too much looking for what? I don't know why.
We're doing lawful activities, yeah, which is not illegal.
No, you are not. You are actually carrying out unlawful activities, and I think you're acting contrary to the criminal law.
You're a security guard that is doing something illegal right now by not displaying the SIA licence.
I think that's a matter of debate for the reasons I've outlined.
So who's in the wrong here, me or you?
You are, and you need to leave. Right now.
You? Yeah?
No. You.
So, off you go.
DJ Audits is in no position to boss anybody around in this situation. He should just leave the premises.
Yeah, we're nothing to do with you now. We're on public land, mate.
If by that you think you're on the public highway, you're not. You're on private land still, PJ.
Absolutely nothing to do with you now.
It is, because you're still on their land, in my opinion, and even if I'm wrong about that and you're not, you're still on the estate, and that's private. So either way you're still trespassing, and I see nothing wrong with a member of staff from Taylor Wimpey continuing to monitor you. There is a possibility of having a highway that is also privately owned and not publicly maintained. That is technically possible in law, but in this case, as I've explained, there's a barrier that they crossed, and also the businesses along there are not public facing. It's extremely unlikely that the main estate road was intended to be a highway.
It's a pleasure talking to you today.
Have a nice one.
Have a nice day, my friend.
Why look on the other side of Amazon? Example.
Oh, we're going down to Amazon as well.
Why is the side exactly this one? When we go Amazon?
Taylor Wimpey, we like. Taylor Wimpey.
It's my job.
Sorry?
This is my company. I send him to come for security.
This is
my shift. Understand?
This is your company.
No, this is my company. I'm security. I'm to Wimbledon. I just another side security company.
My friend, we've got no problem with you. Okay, my only problem with you at the moment is the SIA licence. Apart from that, we've got no business. I'm outside now.
I think DJ Audits is now about to commit an aerial trespass, and I think it would furthermore be an aerial aggravated trespass. To be honest, I think the security guard should retreat now. There is nothing further he can do. In the circumstances, it wouldn't be wise to try and physically eject them, for instance. He should retreat and just monitor them from a distance.
All right.
Well, that was funny while it lasted.
Yeah, a little bit chaotic there. Obviously, the gentleman really didn't want us to be on his site. Now,
Do you think you made that obvious?
I really didn't want to be on his site, but I just wanted to have a little chat outside at a mutually convenient point. A little bit about what he does there inside, but we never got that far, did we? So
No, we didn't.
let's have a look to see what this one looks like from above.
Let's take a look at you, big boy. Let's see what you got.
So as you can see, the little access road there, the tarmac does not change colour. So it's council all the way up to that barrier there as far as I'm concerned now.
The colour of the tarmac has nothing to do with it. The council responsibility ends at the barrier. Where he is now is not publicly maintained, it's private. I've established this and shown you the evidence. The only point of debate is where the Taylor Wimpey premises start. My view is that the estate road starts here at the yellow arrow. One of the reasons I think that is that there is another Taylor Wimpey sign right on the corner, the red and white one. But possibly it starts here at the green arrow instead. I could be wrong altogether and it starts at the gate. But whatever is the case, they're still trespassing. It's all private land.
They have installed some sort of gate here. I don't know whether that's on the land registry boundary or not. Anyway, it does look like they're still involved in just wood here, from what I can see. Pallets and pallets of wood, so maybe they did buy the previous company out. That's my best guess. We have got a skip down there. We've just mixed waste in, it seems.
Notice that he likes to zoom in and all the images are clear, and potentially he will be able to identify staff and viewers can potentially surmise what is going on at the premises. To me, when you take into account what I've said about the ruling in the Anglo International case, it's an aggravated trespass.
A nice big car park down at the back. Not many vehicles in the car park at all, is there? And in this yard here, it's simply lots of wood. Now, let's get a little bit closer to see exactly what wood it is.
He's doing it again. Of course, I'm now showing this on my channel as well. I really would rather not, but I have to show you what he's doing and why it's wrong and possibly even a criminal offence, because they will know he's filming them now and he must intend to cause disruption on the site.
Well, they just look like pallets to me. Very large pallets for large pieces of wood. The Smurfit Kappa vehicle which we saw, and then Jack Richardson's Son trailers. Quite a few of them. And it looks like here's some goods on this trailer being loaded right now. And once again, yeah, just timber.
Let me add 3 further things of relevance at this point. DJ Audits is registered as a data controller with the ICO. Here's the entry on the ICO website. However, I have a problem with this. The requirement under Regulation 2 of the Data Protection Charges and Information Regulations 2018 is that the data controller should register. I don't see how the company he owns, which is an entirely different business, can be the data controller for his YouTube auditing activity, because that company undertakes, as I say, an entirely different activity and has nothing to do with auditing. At the very least, it's something that should be looked into. The second point is that DJ Audits does not have a legitimate interest, as required by Article 6 of the UK GDPR, in capturing and broadcasting identifying images of staff at this company while trespassing. He can't just say, in this case, that running a YouTube channel is a legitimate interest, as there's no public interest in this activity, nor can he rely on the journalistic exemption in Part 5 of Schedule 2 of the Data Protection Act 2018, as again there is no public interest in this. Finally, as well as individual staff members, the company itself has a right to privacy under Article 8 of the Human Rights Act. This has been established in the European Court of Human Rights. You'll have noticed that the site is concealed from public view with trees and bushes around it, and it's on a private part of the estate, which non-authorised persons should not access. It's not as if the site can be seen from the highway. There is a clear wish for privacy.
I'm all finished now, mate. I've been over with the drone. Have you got your SIA licence before I leave? Can I see it? Expiry date?
He doesn't have to do that. Even if we were to fully accept what DJ Audits says about the law, he doesn't have to do that. I don't think he has to show him anything. Really, the security guard should just ignore him.
I just need to see it. What's the expiry date? Just tell me. Sorry? What's your expiry date? Sorry?
Next time. Not your business.
What do you mean none of my business? No, he's refused.
has refused to show you his SIA badge.
Yeah. So the doubt remains whether he is actually licensed.
That does not mean he is unlicensed, nor does it mean he is even required to be licensed.
That's unfortunate.
Well, it's not only that, it also says he's got no authority to tell anybody what to do or not.
He does actually. Any staff member has the authority to tell you to sling your hook.
So we're just about to get some cam back here from the manager. He's got his phone ready.
He wants our picture.
Hello, my brave people. Such a brave person, you won't even put your vest down, will you?
Don't come into my personal space, you.
Let's just watch that again.
Don't come into my personal space, you. Don't come into my personal space, you.
That is an assault by DJ Audits. The manager was not in his personal space. He was holding a camera very close to him, which I must admit is not a good idea, but DJ Audits is on private property and trespassing, indeed committing aggravated trespass. DJ has now also committed an assault by beating contrary to common law, or section 39 of the Criminal Justice Act 1988.
Do not come into my personal space.
Assault.
Do not come into my personal space. If you do it again, I'll push you again. I'm warning you. I'm warning you. Get back. Get back.
That's another assault by beating.
Do not come into my personal space. Stay back. Stay back.
Take your mask off.
Stay back.
Take your mask off.
Stay
then.
back. Stay back.
I'm walking down the
Do
road.
not keep walking into my personal space. Stay back.
That is a third assault by beating committed by DJ Audits. Just remember that at all times, DJ Audits have the option of just walking off the premises where he isn't supposed to be anyway.
I gave you plenty of warning there. That was self-defence.
It was not.
It was not self-defence. I covered the law on self-defence in some depth in a previous video about a confrontation between Absolute Audits and the Metropolitan Police involving an officer pointing a taser at that auditor. And I think much of what I said in that video will apply here, so I will include in what follows some of my explanation from that previous video. First, let's consider common law. The right of self-defence is relevant here because the threat of a taser amounts to an assault, contrary to section 39 of the Criminal Justice Act 1988. And the right of self-defence is recognised in common law. This includes the right for a person to use reasonable force to protect themselves or another where necessary. It is possible that an individual might mistakenly believe himself to be threatened or might mistakenly believe that an offence is being committed by another person. That could be the case here with our auditor and the police officer who has drawn his taser thinking that the auditor might be carrying an offensive weapon. We need to start by looking at the 1984 appeal court case of the Queen and Gladstone Williams. The facts of that case are that a man grabbed a youth who was robbing a lady and fell on top of him. A passerby believed the man was attacking the youth and, while trying to help, a struggle began. The passerby was convicted of an assault. The Court of Appeal quashed the conviction and held that the defendant's mistaken but honest belief that he was using reasonable force to prevent the commission of an offence was sufficient to afford him a defence. Lord Lane said, "The reasonableness or unreasonableness of the defendant's belief is material to the question of whether the belief was held by the defendant at all. If the belief was in fact held, its unreasonableness, as far as guilt or innocence is concerned, is neither here nor there. It is irrelevant. Were it otherwise, the defendant would be convicted because he was negligent in failing to recognise that the victim was not consenting or that a crime was not being committed and so on. In other words, the jury should be directed first of all that the prosecution have the burden of, or duty of proving the unlawfulness of the defendant's actions. Secondly, if the defendant may have been labouring under a mistake as to the facts, he must be judged according to his mistaken view of the facts. Thirdly, that is so whether the mistake was, on an objective view, a reasonable mistake or not. The upshot of all this is that, in a case in which the defendant puts a legal defence of self-defence, if the jury came to the conclusion that the defendant believed or may have believed that he was being attacked or that a crime was being committed, and that the force was necessary to protect himself or to prevent the crime, then the prosecution have not proved their case. If, however, the defendant's alleged belief was mistaken and if the mistake was an unreasonable one, that may be a powerful reason for coming to the conclusion that the belief was not honestly held and should be rejected. Even if the jury came to the conclusion that the mistake was an unreasonable one, if the defendant may genuinely have held the mistaken belief, he is entitled to rely upon it. Police officers have the same defence of self-defence as the rest of us. The law does not require persons, including police officers, to wait until there has been an assault before they take action. This has been confirmed by Lord Griffiths in the 1988 appeal case of Beckford and the Queen. This was a Jamaican criminal case on appeal to the Privy Council. The defendant, who was a police officer, shot a suspect dead, having been told that he was armed and dangerous, because he feared for his own life. The prosecution case was that the victim was not armed and therefore presented no threat to the defendant. The trial judge directed the jury that the defendant's belief in the need to shoot in self-defence had to be both honest and reasonable. In rejecting this direction, the Privy Council approved the approach of Lord Lanning-Williams, which we have just discussed. Lord Griffiths commented that juries should be given the following model direction, which had already been issued to trial judges in England by the Judicial Studies Board. Whether the plea is self-defence or defence of another, if the defendant may have been labouring under a mistake as to the facts, he must be judged according to his mistaken belief of the facts. That is so whether the mistake was, on an objective view, a reasonable mistake or not. Today, the guidance used by circuit judges in criminal trials is found in Part 1 of the Crown Court Compendium 2024, which states, "The defence of self-defence is available even if D, the defendant, is mistaken as to the circumstances as D genuinely believed them to be, whether or not the mistake was a reasonable one for D to have made. The objective test of whether the force used was reasonable is to be decided by reference to the circumstances as D, the defendant, believed them to be." That's all pretty clear to me, and the common law position is supported by Section 76 of the Criminal Justice and Immigration Act 2008, which essentially sets out what I've just told you. Self-defence can be preemptive. Lord Griffiths says this in the Beckford judgment. A man about to be attacked does not have to wait for his assailant to strike the first blow or fire the first shot. Circumstances may justify a preemptive strike. Pulling all this together, the defendant in Beckford therefore did actually have a defence of self-defence because the killing was not unlawful if, in the circumstances as he perceived them to be, he had therefore used reasonable force to defend himself. Turning back to this situation, in light of the law we've just covered, what we have to ask ourselves is this: was the force used by DJ Audits reasonable in light of the belief he held? Whether the belief he held was reasonable or not does not determine the question, though it could be of relevance in determining the reasonableness of the force used. My view is that the force used by DJ Audits was not reasonable, nor was he under a reasonable belief. The manager was not committing an assault by approaching DJ Audits with a camera with the clear intention of recording him. Common assault is an act by which a person intentionally or recklessly causes another to suffer or apprehend immediate unlawful violence. I'm not saying that what the manager was doing was a good idea, but it wasn't an assault. There was no threat of violence or that he might have physical contact with DJ Audits. Even when we assess the incident on the assumption that DJ Audits was about to be assaulted, I don't see how it could be reasonable to push the man at all, because we must remember that DJ Audits was trespassing. At all times he had the option of simply walking away. The manager did follow DJ Audits, but of course DJ Audits could have walked off the premises. DJ Audits did say that he had given the manager plenty of warning, but again DJ Audits is trespassing, and it is legal for the manager to take photographs of him. For that matter, it's also legal for the manager to use reasonable force. Simply standing close to somebody does not give the person the right to assault them, especially when the other person is trespassing.
I gave you plenty of warning there. That was self-defence.
It was not.
Yeah, of course it was. You were pushing him. You were straight in his face.
I never touched him.
That's a barefaced lie from PJ Audits. There was no pushing by the manager. The only physical contact came from DJ Audits.
No, but you're in his face.
Again, he wasn't in his face. He just walked up to him with a camera. I'm not saying it was a good idea, but he wasn't in his face. He didn't push him. It was DJ Audits who assaulted him.
If I walked up getting in your face like that, you wouldn't like it.
Well, of course he wouldn't. That's the whole point, isn't it?
We came here with the best intentions today to do a nice video of Taylor Wimpey.
Oh yeah, right, of course you did.
You guys have let it down big time.
I'm not going to say that the way the staff dealt with it was perfect. It certainly wasn't. But I doubt any of us could deal with such a situation much better, to be frank. And furthermore, the staff members, including that manager, are allowed to use their initiative and resources, including creative means, to persuade or encourage these two clowns to leave the site. And I think that's what the manager was doing just there with his camera and following DJ Audits. And I see nothing wrong with that at all. There was no justification for the assault that DJ Audits committed on him. Of course, DJ Audits and PJ Audits want this content, and they've got it. But at the same time, it comes with a price, because eventually, if they continue with this activity, they are going to get into a lot of trouble. They've got away with it so far, but they won't get away with it forever.
Have a little think about how to behave with members of the public, please.
I think you, DJ Audits, should be having a little think about that too.
Absolutely disgusting. So, we do not like to get physical, and that is the first time I have ever had to use self-defence.
No, it's not, because you weren't using self-defence, and I think you had assaulted people previous to this incident.
But you can clearly see there that he was approaching. I believed he wanted to pull down my mask.
I don't believe that was self-defence, mate. I think that was just him deliberately goading you.
Yeah.
I think that comment by PJ Audits has to take the cake for hypocrisy. Your whole purpose is to goad people.
Yeah. So he got what he deserves.
Self-defence would have been a kick in the nuts. All you did was pushing him away.
Yeah, I used minimal force that I felt was required.
Yeah.
If he was at any attempt to swing or anything like that, then maybe the foot would have came into play. But these guys...
You're a lot more patient than me, because I'd have booted him.
On the screen there, DJ Audits has included some extracts from what I think may be the CPS legal guidance on offences against a person. What needs to be emphasised is that while there's no duty to retreat, a decision not to retreat has to be taken into account when assessing the reasonableness of the force used in self-defence. I just don't think it was reasonable for DJ Audits to push him like that when he was trespassing and could have simply walked away, and it was obvious that the manager was trying to usher him off the premises and in the process take a photograph of him. The logical thing to do and the reasonable thing to do would have been for DJ Audits and also PJ Audits to simply leave.
These guys are clearly agitated now, so I'm actually going to de-escalate this situation and I'm going to move on.
Shouldn't you have done that before? I mean, how many times were you asked to leave?
I don't want to stay here and rattle them anymore.
Yes, because you've rattled them enough already, haven't you?
So I'm going to be the better man on this one.
The better man? He's going to break out into a song in a minute. If it keeps going at this rate.
Well, one thing's certain, mate. If they do phone the police and the police turn up, I've got it all on video.
Yes, you have, haven't you? And here it is.
Don't come into my personal space, you.
That's
do not come into my personal
that's
space.
assault.
Do not come into my personal space. If you
assault.
do it again, I'll push you again. I'm warning you. I'm warning you. Get back. Get back.
Woo!
Do not come into my personal space. Stay back. Stay back.
Stand your ground, mate. Stand your
Stay
ground.
back. Stay back. Stay back.
I'm walking down
Do
the
not keep walking into my personal space. Stay back.
Very helpful of you, PJ, to provide that footage. In fact, I think we'll watch all of it again through PJ Audits footage. You'll see that the incident starts with DJ Audits haranguing the unfortunate security guard about his badge.
Right, so DJ's back. This guy's back. I don't know what this guy's back for. But DJ is desperate to see this guy's SIA licence.
Absolutely disgusting. No, he's refused.
Has refused to show you his SIA badge?
Yeah. So the doubt remains whether he is actually licensed. So that's unfortunate.
Well, it's not only that, it also says he's got no authority to tell anybody what to do or not.
So we're just about to get some cam back here from the manager. He's got his phone ready.
He wants our picture.
Hello, my brave people. Such a brave person, you won't even put your mask down, will you?
Don't come into my personal space, you.
That's
Do not come into my personal space.
assault.
You'll see that PJ Audits is blatantly lying there. He claims that the manager was trying to grab DJ Audits' mask, when in fact you can see that the manager clearly has both hands on his camera.
Do not come into my personal space. If you do it again, I'll push you again. I'm warning you. I'm warning you. Get back. Get back.
Woo!
Do not come into my personal space. Stay back.
You can also see clearly that the manager is not going into DJ Audits' personal space, even if that was relevant.
Stay back.
Stand your ground, mate. Stand your
Stay
ground.
back. Stay back. Stay back.
I'm walking down
Do not keep walking into my personal space. Stay back.
Again, that is clearly an assault by DJ Audits.
Yeah.
You kept asking him to keep his distance, and he kept... And you were in fear that he were going to attack you.
Well, I thought he was going to remove my mask.
Yeah.
And he kept on coming towards me, and I'm moving back.
Yeah.
And it's continuing to get in my personal space.
That's
so
why I said stand your ground.
I'm sorry.
Don't back off, just stand your ground.
We don't like to go that... We don't like to go down this road.
It's amazing what a headbutt will do.
So off they go now, back to work like they should have in the first place.
Yeah.
So my...
Well, why did he come back out again other than, I want your picture?
I think he wanted to get the photo of the mask removed.
Yeah.
And as we all know, my mask is only on today to make your editing life easier.
It is.
My mask is not normally on when I do my videos because I don't want them to feel intimidated by a masked man outside.
That's very considerate of you, DJ. Here's the DJ Audits charge sheet. Trespass and aerial trespass, misuse of private information and personal data, failure to comply with Articles 6 and 13 of the UK GDPR, amongst other provisions, aggravated trespass and aerial aggravated trespass, assault by beating, and by uploading the video he commits a course of conduct amounting to harassment of the 2 staff members featured in it. That is both civil and criminal harassment, of course. PJ Audits also committed trespass, aerial trespass, aggravated trespass and aerial aggravated trespass and harassment. All this happened 2 years ago. Why weren't the 2 of them taken to law and prosecuted? Why didn't the company and the police take action? These questions should really trouble that company and the police, because PJ and DJ carried on with their activities in the subsequent 2 years and created hundreds more victims, and DJ Audits is still doing it to this day, and unbelievably, he recently visited the very same premises.
I thought this area looked familiar. I've been here before with PJ Audits.
Indeed you have, so why are you bothering them again?
And somebody employed by Taylor Wimpey Logistics came out.
Off.
Calm.
You take your mask off.
I'm trying to...
Put your mask down, will you? Take your mask off.
Stay back.
Take your mask off.
Stay back. Stay back.
I'm walking down the
Do
road.
not keep walking into my personal space. Stay back. Had to defend myself. So, I didn't recognise, maybe those units are new, or we didn't do them on the day. We didn't go up there either. But I've definitely been here before. So will security behave better this time? Let's find out. They've still got the same sign, Taylor Wimpey. You will notice that the barriers, security barriers, are wide open.
Which is none of your business, and certainly not an invitation for you to just stroll in. What you'll also notice, which DJ Audits doesn't care to mention, is that once again he is on private land and trespassing. That's before he even walks onto the site. Though in fairness, on this occasion he decides not to.
They have got a sign there, what's that say? I'm making sure I stay this side of the fence, look. I don't want to go onto their site.
Here DJ Audits broadcasts what appears to be the mobile number for security at the site. I've blurred it out. Why DJ Audits would think it appropriate to make that public to his viewers, I've simply no idea. DJ Audits stands around recording, hoping to provoke a response. Nothing much of interest happens really, it's quite dull, and there isn't much in terms of a law that we haven't already covered, except for one thing. It is possible to commit harassment of a company in both the civil and criminal sense, and the argument could be made that his second visit to these premises are part of a course of conduct in which he harasses Taylor Wimpey UK Limited, the company. DJ Audits still thinks he isn't trespassing, and he also thinks he's on the public highway.
So Taylor Wimpey Logistics for the second time, you are lucky. Let's have a look at you then, shall we?
Let's take another look at you, big boy. Let's see what you got.
So there we are, 50 metres, the main road, which links up to a roundabout, which links up to another roundabout. It's a very, very public. And then the access road into this particular site can be gated shut just there, and we've not been past at that point.
You can see the barriers just there, where I've circled them. He's clearly not on the public highway. He now proceeds to use his drone to film people up close, thereby committing a further trespass.
Oh, has he just got onto his walkie-talkie? Let's turn on the walkie-talkie, see if he's using
PMR.
I'd almost forgot that DJ Audits likes to use a scanner. I went through the law on this in a previous video about DJ Audits' visit to the set of Big Brother, the TV show. Let's go back to that.
If you can come outside just for a quick minute, please.
DJ Audits is using a scanner to listen to radio communications by security. For those who don't know, a radio scanner is a receiver that can automatically tune, or scan, 2 or more discrete frequencies. In simple terms, that means it can listen in on radio communications. You don't need a license for a scanner as long as it's only a radio receiver. If it also transmits, you may need a license, but I'm going to assume that what he's using there is just a receiver. Is it legal for him to use a scanner to listen in on communications between security guards? The general position in UK law is that anyone who intentionally and without necessary authorisation intercepts communications in the UK may be committing a criminal offence. Typically, receivers and scanners can only be legally used for what is called general reception, which is licensed broadcasting stations and hobby radio. Some business and private radio communications are considered to be for general reception, regardless of the intentions of the parties. An example would be, as I say, hobby radio. In Britain we call it amateur radio. It's known as ham radio in the United States, and we sometimes call it that here in Britain as well. A conversation on amateur radio is private, but it is also for general reception, so anybody could legally listen in, just in the same way that they could listen to a radio station from the BBC or wherever. Same applies to a conversation on CB radio. As long as the CB is being operated legally, it doesn't matter how private that conversation is, the law treats it as being for general reception, so anybody can listen in. Radio communications between security guards would not usually fall into the general reception category. I say not usually because sometimes they will. It will happen sometimes that a security team will communicate using CB radio, but it's going to be rare that you see that nowadays, and I doubt any of the security guards in this situation are using CB radios, as it would be a practical hindrance to them. I think they'll be using two-way radios in the form of walkie-talkies. They're clearly using the radios unlicensed and on a public frequency, so it is a public transmission, but that does not necessarily mean it's meant for general reception. There is a distinction between the two things, and this is what I think may be at the root of DJ Audits' misunderstanding. Just because you can listen in using a receiver doesn't follow that it's legally permissible to listen in. To reiterate, the central point is this: the test of whether listening in on a public transmission is legal depends on whether that transmission is meant for general reception. Business communications over a walkie-talkie are not meant for general reception. A walkie-talkie is not a CB radio or amateur radio transceiver, and common sense tells us that security staff will not intend that ordinary members of the public can have a listen. Section 48(1) of the Wireless Telegraphy Act 2006 states this: a person commits an offence if, without lawful authority, A. he uses wireless telegraphy apparatus with intent to obtain information as to the contents, sender or addressee of a message, whether sent by means of wireless telegraphy or not, of which neither he nor a person on whose behalf he is acting is an intended recipient, or B. he discloses information as to the contents, sender or address of such a message. In other words, it is an offence to purposefully intercept and receive radio signals that are not intended for you or the public, and it is an offence to act on any information so received, unless you are doing so with either the authority of the parties involved or a licence from Ofcom. In this case, DJ Audits has neither. If he had done this accidentally, I personally would not consider that to be an offence, because I don't believe that was the intention behind the legislation. There's a clear reference to the need for intent as an element of the offence. Someone who does this accidentally would retune their receiver to another legal frequency. It only becomes intentional if the operator does not do that, and here we see that DJ Audits has done this on purpose. I think DJ Audits is here committing two offences under Section 48 in that he's both intentionally obtaining information and he's disclosing it through broadcast on YouTube. My understanding is that typically Section 48 is hardly ever enforced in practice due to the triviality of most circumstances, but here we are dealing with somebody who has broadcast himself committing the offence to a large YouTube channel, so it is a bit different.
YouTube.
Yeah.
We understand that.
Sorry?
So what is the name of your YouTube? What is the name of your YouTube?
Oh, I'll need to see your name first.
No. What is the name of your YouTube?
Yeah,
You make YouTube.
I'd like to know who I'm giving it to. Just turn your badge around so I can see your name.
Here's a reality. The security guard is under no obligation to show DJ Audits his SIA badge. He only has to have it on display. As I mentioned earlier in relation to the first incident, I would say it's open to argument whether the security guard even has to do that in these circumstances. DJ Audits, on the other hand, is under an obligation to provide his identity and details of what will be done with the footage under Article 13 of the UK GDPR.
Yeah, you can see Taylor will be here.
No, but you.
Why?
Because you're asking for my name, the YouTube name.
Yeah, what kind of YouTube are you making?
Who am I talking to? What's your name?
Speak with the manager. The manager is
Oh, right.
Are you right?
Yeah, yeah.
What's up?
No, nothing's wrong with me.
Nothing.
No? What have you been called for?
Just that somebody was filming outside, that's all.
Yeah, is that a problem or?
That's not a problem, is it? DJ Audits?
Well, he seems to think it's a problem.
Well, as long as
You're
you're not on site, it's fine.
No, I'm never been on your site, but he's told me to go back there and I'm not allowed, it's illegal.
Stay here, apart from just don't go through the gates.
No, I haven't.
Just be careful of the
But why is,
vehicle.
like, your contractor's telling me that I'm breaking the law?
I don't know what he said.
He said it's illegal.
It's not illegal, is it?
It's like misinformation. What if I believed him and just went away? That'd be unfair for the photographer that just wanted to do.
Maybe. Yeah, I've seen you guys on YouTube, so I know what it's all about.
Can we educate him so it don't happen again?
No, it's not my job to educate him. He's a different contractor.
You don't want to do it, got ya.
Yeah, so
That's fine if you don't want to do it.
He's just protecting our site, that's all.
I've not been on.
No, it's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
Just
that's
don't
all.
come past these gates if you don't mind.
No, not been past the gates
Yeah.
at all.
I know that DJ Audits will be watching this. My message to you is that your decision to start auditing again is very unwise, and you may soon find yourself facing the criminal courts if this behaviour continues.